Today, we'll show you how to install a draw-Tite custom trailer hitch, part number 76436. This hitch application fits the 2021 Ford Bronco Sport. Before beginning the installation, be sure to familiarize yourself with all parts included in the instructions. We also recommend wearing safety equipment. Before beginning the installation, open the tailgate and use your plastic trim tools to remove the plastic cover near the driver's side taillight. Then move to the passenger side and do the same thing. Once those are off, use a 10mm socket to remove the two nuts holding the cover to the taillight house on both sides. Gently pull rearward to remove the taillight. Then, disconnect the wiring and set the taillights aside. Staying at the back of the vehicle, your next step is to remove the rear fascia. To do this, first locate the 4 screws on the underside center of the fascia and remove them using a 7mm socket. Move to the outer bottom edge of the rear bumper fascia, near the wheel well, and remove the 2 screws there. Do this on both sides. Next, move to the inside of the rear wheel well and use a flathead screwdriver or your plastic trim tool to remove the 5 push rivets on both sides. There is also a push rivet below the taillight on each side, so you'll need your screwdriver or trim tool to remove those as well. After those are removed, use your 8mm socket to pull back the wheel well trim and remove the screw you see on both sides. Finally, use your plastic trim tool to partially remove the fascia. You'll want to start at the outer ends near the wheel well and move inward. Finally, disconnect the wiring harness near the passenger side from the fascia and carefully set the fascia aside. For the next step, use an 8mm socket and remove the half-dozen screws from the fascia support bracket, starting on the driver's side of the vehicle and moving around the back to the passenger side. Set this bracket aside. You will reinstall it later. Then, take off the bumper beam by using a 15mm socket to remove the 8 M10 flange hex nuts. Set the nuts aside. You will need them later as well. The bumper beam will not be reinstalled. Now you can install the hitch. To do this, raise the hitch into position, making sure you align the holes in the hitch with the studs in the end panel. Loosely reinstall 4 of the M10 flange hex nuts you previously removed from the bumper beam onto the M10 studs and bolts. Loosely fasten the rest of the hitch using the M10 bolts, toothed conical washers, and M10 hex flange nuts. After all the hardware has been secured, use a torque wrench to torque all the nuts to 42 foot-pounds. After you finish torquing the bolts, you'll need to trim the fascia. To do this, locate the center of the fascia and use a tape measure, marker, and utility knife to cut a 5" by 4" notch in the bottom of the fascia. Then reinstall the fascia support bracket. Reconnect all the wiring first and reinstall the fascia using the original hardware you removed earlier in the installation. At this point, you can remove any masking tape used. Plug the taillights back in, then reinstall the taillights and taillight covers using the original fasteners you took out earlier in the installation. Once you've finished reinstalling the support bracket, fascia, and the taillights and covers, you're done. This concludes the installation for a draw-Tite custom trailer hitch on this 2021 Ford Bronco Sport, part number 76436. For more information on this and other great draw-Tite products, visit draw-Tite.com.